Hello, everyone. Welcome. We will get started in about 30 seconds. All right, so I think we're going to get started. Hello, graduate students and postdocs. Welcome to today's session on exploring Canada, travel tips and hidden gems. I am super pumped about this presentation. I've spent quite a bit of time finding a lot of tips and information from my own experiences and across the internet to give you a large uh, kind of snapshot of across the country today. So welcome. A few housekeeping notes that this session is going to be recorded. So if there's information that I provide today that you want to maybe go back to listen to again or check in on, we will be posting the recording online over the next few days. And I am happy to share out the slides that I have created because I have a lot of useful links to the things I talk about and resources. So I am happy to share that out after as well. You should also see a Q&A function on your call today, probably at the bottom of your screen. It will probably show up as a Q&A. Um, you can put your questions in there as we go, and we will have a Q&A section at the end, closer to about 2:20-ish. And you should also see a closed captioning option on your screen if you would like, like a transcript as well to pop up as we go along. All right, with that, we will get going. So I'd like to share a territorial acknowledgement. The University of Waterloo acknowledges that much of our work takes place on the traditional territory of the Neutral, Anishinaabe, and Haudenosaunee peoples. Our main campus is situated on the Haldimand Tract, the land granted to the Six Nations that includes 6 miles on each side of the Grand River. Our active work towards reconciliation takes place across our campuses through research, learning, teaching, and community building, and is coordinated within the Office of Indigenous Relations. I highly recommend checking that office out. They have fantastic resources, events, and training. And in terms of us traveling across Canada, the land we call Canada is home to over 600 Indigenous communities representing more than 50 nations and Indigenous languages. So as we travel, we can learn about the territories we are entering through resources such as Who's.land. So, an introduction of who I am. For those who have not seen my face or my name before, I am Ashley Ryan. I am the graduate and postdoctoral programming specialist here at Graduate Studies and Postdoctoral Affairs. And as I said, I was super excited to do this presentation today because I haven't been to all of our provinces and territories, but traveling is just so fun. And I'd love to share what I've seen across the country and some of the things I've even learned over this past week as well. So let's take a second to look about Canada as an overall kind of picture. From nature, food, history, climate, and more, Canada is very diverse. In terms of language, Canada is officially bilingual. We have two official languages in the country. For most of the country, you're going to hear English as fairly dominant. However, if you are traveling to Quebec, that's where you're going to see a lot of French popping out as well. We have 10 provinces and 3 territories in our country, and we border 3 oceans. We border the Atlantic, the Pacific, and the Arctic way up north. And a fun fact, we have the highest number of freshwater lakes in the world, which makes for amazing views and backcountry camping options as well. In terms of our size, Canada is very large. We are the second largest country in the world. To give you a bit of a snapshot on how big Canada is, it would take about theoretically 6.5 to 7 hours to fly directly from our far east coast to the west. And it's about a similar time if you were to go from Southern Ontario up to one of our territories as well. So that's a lot of flight time. As you can imagine, that's basically, if you want to compare it, you could basically get to some of the places in Europe or Costa Rica for the same time it would take to get to certain places just across Canada. So that's how big it really is. So as I go forward onto the next slide, I do want to share a poll because I'm very curious. I'm looking to know what are some spots you have visited in Canada before? So short answer, so feel free to share in the poll that should have just popped up for you, or you can put it in the chat if it's not working for you. I'm very interested to see where everyone's been so far. Even if you've just been in like an hour away from Waterloo or in Waterloo, that counts too. And as you're going with that, I'm going to quickly move over to the next slide, but we're going to keep that poll open for a few more, about a minute or 30 seconds longer as well, and then we'll talk about it. So in terms of what we're going to be talking about today, of course, being Canada being so massive, we have very different seasons that go into our country. And of course, there's different activities and different really cool things to see across the seasons. But today we are going to be heavily focused on late spring and summer because we're entering those kind of months, and that's the time where a lot of people are traveling as well. And I'm guessing you're here today, you're maybe considering looking at some of these places over the next few months. So let's look at where people have been so far. If I can open some of these details. Oh, 1 second. Oh, that's weird. Okay. Note for next time, that kind of poll, I can't see the responses for some reason, but thank you so much for participating. I'm definitely going to go check it out after this call to see where some of you have been already. So a look of our journey today, we're going to talk about getting around, like physically, how do we get to these places that we're going to talk about? We're going to talk about travel destinations and those hidden gems I was mentioning all across the country. If we have time, we're going to dive into a little bit about camping logistics, if that is something that people are maybe interested in trying out. I have some additional travel tips for you for Canada travel and some additional planning resources as well. And again, hopefully at the end, we will have time for questions. But if we can't get to all of them, I'm happy to stick around for a few extra minutes or connect with you through our grad experience account as well. All right, so let's jump into it. Getting around. Again, how do we get to these places that we're going to talk about? There's a variety of options. One option is to take a bus. So many cities have municipal bus systems, which you may have kind of seen already floating around Waterloo or Kitchener. And the fares across the country, depending on the municipality and depending on kind of how touristy the area is and where it is, your single ride fare is going to range anywhere from like $1.50 to $4, again, depending on where you are. In terms of getting in between cities and around the area, especially in Ontario, we have a few different companies that run kind of intercity bus routes, such as Go Transit, which is really heavily in southern Ontario, especially, or at least a large chunk of it. We have companies operating like Flixbus, Megabus, which have kind of different routes, not just in Ontario, but in other provinces as well. And then we have the Ontario Northland, which, again, all of these are more expensive than city buses because, of course, you're going further. The Ontario Northland goes as far up as like Cochrane and I believe potentially Timmins. But anyways, if you're trying to get to like kind of the more northern townships in Ontario, Not super, super north in Ontario, but if you're trying to get up at least like past Barrie, the Northland is a good chance for that. In terms of these kind of buses, it's going to take you a long time, but theoretically, you could jump from bus to bus and transfer to transfer to get pretty far. Like, for example, you could theoretically get from Toronto to Winnipeg, which is the capital of Manitoba, the next province over, for about $300 and about 3 to 4 bus transfers of these like longer route buses. But it's going to take you about a day and a half to get there. So, again, it can be kind of budget friendly if you like to see the scenic route, but it's going to take you a while. In terms of Greyhound, a Greyhound no longer operates across Canada. They do. I've heard that they've come back a little bit in terms of like cross-border trips, like if you're taking Toronto to New York. But in terms of across the country, that's no longer happening. How do you save? When it comes to buses, there are a few ways to save. If you're going to be hopping on and off, like city buses in a certain area, like for example, Toronto, check into the day pass rate because it's probably going to be cheaper to pay that than those single fares at each time. Check to see if this applies to you for the grad students in the room, if they take a student discount. Or if there's kind of a discount card that you can get, such as, for example, in Toronto and through the Go Transit system, they take a card called Presto. So you get this card, and kind of the more that you use it, the lower the fare is, and you get an additional discount basically, even right off the bat for you using that card. It doesn't cost you money to have that card either. And some of the places that we're going to talk about today, they can be pretty far out from the major cities. However, you can consider looking for guided bus trips to take you from a major city to these more remote areas that we're going to talk about, such as some of the very large like national parks. So you could get on a bus somewhere that's really close to the international airport, and they may be able to do that kind of a day trip out for you. You can also get to places through trains. So some of the companies are Go Transit again, operating in many areas of Southern Ontario. These are our very heavy like commute trains that people use to get in and out of places like, for example, like Toronto, Kitchener. We have the Northlander train, which again is to get to those more northern Ontario locations. Interestingly, it was decommissioned in 2012, but it is due to come back this year. So it's not fully clear when it's coming back this year, but it is set to come back this year. And there are going to be routes going as far as Timmins or Cochrane in Ontario. We have Via Rail, which is the main train company used for cross-country trail travel. So if you're looking to take a train all the way out to British Columbia, for example, Via Rail is probably going to be your bet. And in terms of the next few months, we also have seen some discounts popping up through Via Rail, such as things like the Canada Strong Pass. And through the Canada Strong Pass, I think it's in like assortment with the government actually, and it's not just for rails. You can get discounted entry to museums and some national parks as well. In terms of pricing and the spacing for something like Via Rail, I put some examples of routes like Kitchener to Montreal, Toronto to Halifax, which is all the way on our East Coast, and Toronto to Vancouver as well. So, of course, when we think about travel, a lot of people are also going to think about airplanes because that can be the quickest way to get to some of these places in our country. Um, so if you are in Waterloo region right now, you are most likely going to be flying out of either Toronto Pearson International Airport, um, Billy Bishop Airport in Toronto as well. Or some of you may be surprised to know, we do have an international airport right here in Waterloo region, and they do have certain routes in Canada as well. So you might not even have to leave the region to get on an airplane. So in terms of Canadian airlines that you might be seeing pop up or to look into would be Air Canada, which is our largest and main fleet carrier in the country. And some other ones you may see are companies like WestJet, Air Transat, Porter, Flair. Those are the companies, if you're looking to travel within Canada, those are probably your best bet in checking out and figuring out what the price comparisons look like. If you're looking to go up into the far north, and I'm talking in the territories, the Yukon Northwest Territories, none of it, then you're looking at kind of a different line of passenger planes, such as Air North, which is in the Yukon and some northern areas of British Columbia, and Canadian North, which is operating heavily in Nunavut and Northwest Territories. So again, this is the quickest way to get really far in the country. But the pricing, it's going to vary massively. And of course, if some of you or many of you have potentially traveled before, not necessarily just in Canada, sometimes it's going to be cheaper than some of these other options. And sometimes it's going to be drastically more expensive, especially now with fuel charges going up. So always good to kind of compare prices and see what's up. I also want to mention, remember at the beginning of presentation, I talked about all of these lakes that we have in this country, and they're awesome. And we also have the oceans that we're bordering here in Canada. That means we do also have a ton of different ferry routes. Sometimes it just makes sense to get somewhere by water, and where that sense is where you'll typically find these routes. So I've listed up some kind of examples of popular ferry routes that you can see today, such as like Nova Scotia to Newfoundland, Quebec City ferries if you're looking to take those. If you're in Toronto, you could take a ferry over to the Toronto Islands. For example, maybe you want to go to Center Island. There's kind of like an amusement park there, and some other activities. Some of these, the prices are going to vary drastically based on, how long you have to be on the boat for. Of course, like for example, if you're taking a Toronto Island ferry, that's only going to take like a 15-minute trip. If you're looking to kind of make the transfer from Nova Scotia to Newfoundland, well, that could take like 5 to 18 hours, depending on what ports you're looking to go to. So, of course, that price is going to look a lot different. And in terms of what you can bring on the boat, that also is going to look a lot different depending on uh, kind of the route and how long. So many, but not all, but many ferries will be equipped to bring on vehicles. It's actually highly impressive to see some of the major ferries being loaded, like the MS Chichimon that goes from Tobermory to Manitoulin, which is not too far away from us. The whole front of the boat opens and they fit in so many vehicles and even transport trucks. It's very impressive. So in terms of pricing, usually when you go on these ferries, if you're bringing a vehicle with you, you'll be paying per person as well as a vehicle charge as well. And then, of course, if you're looking to get around, there is also the option of vehicles such as cars. So a lot of areas, not so much as remote areas, but if you're in the major cities or towns, a lot of them will have access to some sort of local taxi service. Um, Cities will typically have the option of Uber or Lyft if that's something that you're comfortable with using. You can always look into logistics with car rentals. So Hertz, Enterprise, Avis. I know the University of Waterloo, for University of Waterloo purposes, has some sort of deal going on with Hertz. But you can also look for discounts through places like Costco if you have to have a membership through there, or CAA I found to be a good place. I recently rented a vehicle when I was at a different country, and that seemed to be a good place to find a discount as well. If you happen to be under 25, just as a heads up, sometimes car rental companies will have some restrictions or additional conditions based on age. And if you are someone who does not have like a Canadian or Ontario-based driver's license, depending on your driver's training and your time currently in Canada, you may also need an international driver's permit from your country in order to drive in Canada. So that, and along with kind of making sure you have insurance coverage for protection for the vehicle and things like liability if something were to happen, these are kind of really important things to make sure that we're looking into. A CAA I will answer a question, or I'll just answer it now because I've seen it. The CAA is basically, I can't remember exactly what it stands for. I feel like it's Canadian Automobile Association. I'd have to look it up. But basically, a lot of people have memberships for CAA if they, like I do, like if you're driving and you break down somewhere, if you have CAA, like it's they have certain coverages for getting a tow truck and things like that. They can help you. It's like roadside assistance support, but they also do travel insurance and a bunch of other things as well. All right, so now we've gotten to the bulk of the presentation. So now that we have some ideas of different ways to get around, whether it be in the cities or townships, or out really in the rural areas, um, these are kind of the destinations and hidden gems that you can check out. Again, there are like thousands, if not millions, of places to go, things to see across the country. So 100%, there is so much that is left out of this presentation. It was really hard a decision to figure out like what to even include. It was almost random, really, at most. So here is some places that I hope that that piques your interest a little bit across the country. So we're going to look into kind of natural things that are happening more in the cities, like in museums or performances, even restaurants in every single province and territory across the country. I will be providing some additional tips and places in Southern Ontario because that's where we are. So that's where I figured we could beef that up a little bit. In terms of what a hidden gem is, it's going to be very subjective, depending on how familiar you are with travel in Canada. Some places, a hidden gem to someone else might not be a hidden gem to another person. Um, but I figured I'd include them and we will go with it. All right, so we are going to kick things off in Ontario. And again, I'm so sorry. I know I'm speeding through a lot of information, but again, at the end, I'm going to share out the slides, and this is recorded if you want to check back if something piques your interest. So on each province and territory, you'll notice on the screen, I've actually circled on a map where kind of geographically I'm talking about. So we are going to jump into Ontario. I know I have the entire province circled, but Ontario is absolutely massive. To give it a comparison, we can fit about four Italy's inside of Ontario. Like that's how massive just the one province is. So in terms of ideas of things to do, I'm going to be really focusing actually just in that little tip at the bottom of Ontario, where we are in Southern Ontario. All right, so one really cool gem, and it's only about 30 minutes away by car from the university, is Elora. So Elora is a really little nice scenic village town. It has unique shops, really cool restaurants. It's not too far to get to. They have activities throughout the year. In terms of conservation, they're really close to, it's basically in this same area as Elora Gorge Conservation Area, which is really cool because in this you can even, go swimming, hiking. There's even the option to pay to go tubing. You get a helmet, you get like a certified tube, and you get to go kind of down the light rafts in the area. So that's really cool. If for any horror movie fans in the room or on the call today, a really interesting fact I like about Elora is that for anyone who's seen the 2017 version of the film It by Stephen King, parts of that movie were actually filmed in Elora and the Elora Gorge and surrounding areas. So that's a fun tip for today. And of course, when we think about Ontario, and I talk with students and everyone, even people who have, lived here their whole lives, Niagara Falls is always a popular location. In terms of from Waterloo, it's about an hour and a half to 2 hours drive, maybe more. It really depends on the traffic in the area that day that you're going. But there are tons to do in the area. You could take Niagara City Cruises, which is the Canadian side, or the Maid of the Mist on the American side, which if you see at the bottom left of the screen, the picture of the Niagara Falls, or at least our portion of the falls in Canada, you'll see a boat there. You can actually be someone who goes on that boat, and they'll take you pretty close to the kind of chaotic water's edge there safely to check it out closer. It does get quite misty, so I recommend a poncho on that. And for anyone who likes The Office, this is kind of the boat that Pam and Jim would have gotten married on, if you like that show. In terms of the area is very touristy. We have Clifton Hill there, which offers a ton of activities like arcades, haunted houses, tons of shopping. They have the Hershey factory there, which is like well, basically it's the factory is not there, but the shop that's like Hershey store that's there, and you can get tons of different Hershey chocolates and candies that you can't easily find other places. So that's a good gem if you go there. Highly recommend checking out Niagara Sky Wheel, especially at night. It's a really great view of the falls. There's a bird conservatory there called Bird Kingdom to check out a ton of different birds, tropic. It's really cool. In the area, in terms of places to stay, there are tons of hotels, including two with indoor water parks, which may be of interest to those who may have children. But also, you don't have to be a child to go to a water park. I definitely went with to one with my husband a few years ago, and we don't have children. It's fun for everyone. Um, Fun fact about Niagara Falls, it's also home to Canada's last rainforest cafe, which is just it's just a restaurant I like to go to when I'm there. It's hard to attend now because it's again, like I was mentioning, the only one in the country. You have to go to the States if you want to go to other chains of it. But basically, they have like a bunch of animatronic animals in there, and it's kind of forest themed. It's just a cool kind of ambiance. A fun fact as well about Niagara Falls is about over the years, about 15 people have attempted to intentionally go over the falls as kind of like a daredevil stunt attempt. Um, some have actually survived the fall with whatever contraptions they built to kind of go over or have engineered. I would not recommend trying that out because the odds are not super in your favor. And if you want to try it as a stunt, there is a heavy fine that comes along with it, so do not recommend. All right, so we're going to go a little bit further away from Waterloo now over to Tobermory. Tobermory is about 3.5 hours away by car from Waterloo. It's kind of northwest of us a bit. It kind of goes into like a little tip into Lake Huron. It has beautiful water. You can kind of see kind of the turquoise looking water down in the pictures, especially the middle and far right photos I have on the screen there. This is a great place to go, especially if you liked hiking, because the Bruce Trail is there, which is the oldest documented marked footpath, and it actually runs all the way from Niagara to Tobermory, which is a massive stretch, as you can imagine. If you're in Tobermory and you're looking for the day, you can take different ferries from here or boats to get to different places as well, such as the MS Chichaman that I was talking about earlier. You can jump on that to go to Manitoulin Island, either for the day or for kind of a longer stay. It takes about, from what I remember, about 1.5 to 2 hours on the ferry, if I'm correct. So it does take a chunk of time to get there, but it's really nice scenic, especially if it's a really nice day out there on the lake. Or you can catch a boat as well to Flower Pot Island, which is a really neat island. You'll see in the bottom right corner there, they have these really neat rock formations on site that kind of look like flower pots around the island, which is where it's got its name from. Flower Pot Island is also very unique in terms of its ecosystem. It has a large number of orchid species. So if you're someone who is really into, plant biology, that's somewhere that you probably want to check out for yourself. Going even further away, a little bit from Waterloo, but again within fairly driving distance, we have Ottawa, which is, of course, the capital of Canada. In terms of from Waterloo, it's about a 5 to 7 hour car ride, probably not the seven mark. Kind of depends on which route you take. You can go through the GTA and kind of to the east, or you can kind of still have to go into the GTA, but go more north through like Huntsville. So it kind of depends on what route you take, and it depends on the traffic. But yeah, maybe you're looking more to the 5, 6 hour mark. There are some really cool to see, of course, in terms of our parliament buildings are there, which you can do some kind of government-based tours as well. But you can also check out places such as the Rideau Canal. In the winter, great for skating on, if it's solid enough, of course. And it's also home to a lot of really great museums and art galleries, such as our National Gallery of Canada. So the National Gallery of Canada was established back in 1880, and it's the world's largest collection of Canadian and Indigenous art. So I highly recommend checking that out if you're in the area. So again, I have a few hidden gems on the screen. Some of these you might be looking at and thinking, Ashley, this is not a hidden gem. To some people it might be, some people maybe not so much. So the first one I have on the screen is the Cochrane Polar Bear Habitat. So it is the world's only nonprofit organization that provides sanctuary to polar bears in need of human care. So those who that are they were hurt in some capacity and they can't survive on their own in the wild. They have quite a large span of acreage there to have that protective and educational and research services going on. So if you're ever up north in that way, check that out. I have not myself, but it's on the list of things to do. You could also check out the geocaching capital of Canada, which is pretty close to us in the Haliburton Highlands. So basically, if you have not done geocaching before, it's essentially a worldwide treasure hunt. Geocaching is in tons of different countries around the world, tons of different areas. We even have geocaches right here on campus. So if you Google geocache, or I'll link it to you as well in the chat later, you can figure out it's basically like you give you kind of like riddles and hints and kind of map locations, and you can go by yourself with friends, with family, and go find different hidden things. Some of them are just like a roster that you get to sign off that you found it. Some things are kind of like a trading situation where you bring little pieces to trade with things that other people have left. Some are just really cool displays. Like someone the other day found like a box creation of like a dinosaur setup. So it's something really fun to do with kids as well. And then one place I haven't been to in a while, but I did love going to as a kid when I lived up in Barrie, where my family is Canada's Wonderland. So that is a basically I think one of Ontario's only theme parks, probably the largest, in Vaughan, so near Toronto. And it is what I just said. It's a theme park. There's tons of roller coasters, fun rides. There's some fun shows. They have some different kind of festivals throughout the year, or themed based things like kind of like Halloween haunted houses around October. But if you like that thrill-seeking feature of a roller coaster, check it out. All right, so we have zipped through Ontario now, and again, most of them were in southern Ontario, but we are kind of moving now a bit further to the east, and we're moving into Quebec now, which again is that circle into that green province there. Quebec is our largest province, second largest administrative area in terms of, by that I mean that none of it is technically our largest province and or territory. Quebec is quite a large space. So, moving forward, all the provinces and territories unfortunately only just get the one slide because it is further away, and we have so many things that we want to fit in today. So, with Quebec, again, like I was mentioning, with Canada being an officially bilingual country with English and French, And of course, we have tons of different language across the country, but those are our two official languages. Quebec is going to be the place that you're going to see a lot of French popping up on with interactions with people and information that you see in the cities and townships and things like that. So here are some things for you to check out potentially if you're in the area. You can go to Jacques Cartier National Park. This one's about 40 minutes away from the capital, Quebec City. It is considered a national monument full of glacial valleys. So that is the center photo on the slide there at the bottom. A lot of people always ask me about places like Montreal and Old Port. I have not myself been to Montreal, but it is a popular destination city for historic sites, architecture, museums, art, more. If people are running like, bachelorette or bachelor parties, like a lot of times people will be like, let's go to Montreal. So I've heard that it can be a very, very fun place to go. Um, you could check out Montmorency Falls, which is about 15 minutes from Quebec City. And this is interesting because these falls are not as wide as our portion of the Niagara Falls, but is actually taller than the Niagara Falls. So that's an interesting piece of nature there. And if you're looking for more art embedded in nature, you can check out Forest Lumina, which is basically an immersive nighttime hike experience, which is about 2 hours from Montreal. So, of course, you may want to go out there if there's other things in that area that you're interested in. But there's kind of like interactive light displays throughout a forest trail that you can check out. Sometimes they have one of those similar near Blue Mountain in Collingwood, which is about 2.5 hours from Waterloo as well. So I've only been to one similar like this one time, but it was really cool experience. So highly recommend. So, going a step again to the East Coast, we are going now into New Brunswick. With New Brunswick and Quebec and Ontario, again, like I was saying, Quebec, you're going to see a lot of French. You're also going to see more and more French as you go into the far northeast Ontario, and you're going to see it popping up in New Brunswick a lot as well. So here are some tips and places that you can see if you ever find yourself in New Brunswick. You could check out Hopewell Rocks Provincial Park, which is the bottom left picture on the screen. It's about 2.5 hours drive from Fredericton, which is the province's capital city. Has some really cool rock formations. You can walk right kind of on the ocean floor, especially like at low tide. I haven't been there, but it looks really neat. You can go to Fundy National Park, which is about 2 hours from Fredericton, which is the world's highest tides along the Bay of Fundy there, and is the heart of the UNESCO Fundy Biosphere Reserve. If you find yourself, if you're going to New Brunswick, you may find yourself probably right in Fredericton itself. On Thursday nights downtown, they have the famous Garrison Night Market, where you can find shops, live music, and a lot more. So you can check that as well. And there's an example on the bottom right hand of the screen. In terms of the hidden gem for New Brunswick that I saw, is the St. Martin Sea Cave exploration. So especially in low tide time, there kind of are, you can take tours or you can find it yourself. There are kind of caves that you can actually go in and explore. So that can be really cool to do. All right, so I'm just going to take a sip of water here. All right, and again, we're still hanging out on the East Coast. Over on the East Coast in Canada, we have um, a few provinces that are quite small, like landmass wise, that are kind of all mixed in together there. So we have Nova Scotia coming up, which our capital of Nova Scotia is Halifax. And here are some things you can check out there. So the first thing I recommend checking out what is Piggy's Cove Lighthouse and Village. So it's about an hour from Halifax if you're driving. It's one of Nova Scotia's most well-known lighthouses, and many kids consider it to be the most photographed lighthouse in the country. And it sits on about 1,000 acres of protected land as well. If you're in Halifax directly, you could check out the Maritime Museum of the Atlantic. So it has really neat displays on like ship passages and anything to do with water travel and things that have happened in the area and historically. Um, so two examples of interesting historical displays that would be on there would be information on the Halifax Harbor explosion that took place in 1917. And they also have pieces and information here from the Titanic sinking. So interesting, like with the Titanic sinking, you might even be seeing like a video popping up on social media a lot right now on it being brought back to life through drone kind of visualization out where it was built, which is out in Belfast in Ireland. And the Titanic sank fairly close to the coast of Nova Scotia. So that's where it resides in the ocean. And so that is why Nova Scotia and Halifax houses a lot of the displays and information and historical pieces for the Titanic. Another great option, especially if you are going to be doing driving around, is the Cabot Trail. It's about 4 hours from Halifax, but is one of the world's most scenic drives. It's basically a highway that goes from through Cape Breton National Park and is right there on the bottom right-hand side. It is quite a sight to see with the forestry and the ocean and the cliffs nearby. And if you are someone who likes to collect views and photos with the world's largest whatever, Nova Scotia is home to the world's largest fiddle on Cape Breton Island. It is 60 feet and is a tribute to the folk music and traditions of the province's Celtic community. All right. Still again hanging out on the East Coast, but a little bit more north this time. We are entering Prince Edward Island, or PEI, with the capital being Charlottetown. So, Prince Edward Island, if you are in Charlottetown, which would probably be where you would be flying in if you are flying there, it's a great for shops, the history, festivals, attractions, and you'll find a lot of information and theatrical productions and heritage sites and kind of artwork surrounding Anne of Green Gables. If that's literature that you have grown up with or have seen, that's where you could find a lot of that information. If you are somewhat of a beach goer yourself, you could definitely check out the Cavendish Beach. It is a 8 kilometer stretch of beach and it has beautiful scenery. And typically there are places that you can rent along the stretch if you want a kind of a longer beach stay as well. And a really interesting hidden gem on here is the Potato Museum. So potatoes are PEI's largest crop. And here you'll find also the largest exhibit of potato-related farm machinery, agricultural, and community artifacts. You can take your picture with the world's largest potato sculpture, if that's of interest to you. And something that I found out this week that I'm very intrigued to try myself is that the Potato Museum in PEI is one of the only, if not the only, from what I see online, place in the entire country that you can get traditional seaweed pie. I know. When I first saw that, I was like, oh, I don't know how that would taste, but apparently it's delicious and it's actually more of a sweet dish, not as much savory. And interestingly, it is actually made from a specific kind of Irish moss, which is why it's not very much created in Canada. It makes sense that when you see that it's popping up on the East Coast because a lot of people from Ireland or those kind of that kind of heritage is in that area as well. And that's about an hour and a half from Charlottetown if you want to go there and you want to try that seaweed pie. All right, and our last stop on the East Coast before we start heading into the prairies in the middle is Newfoundland and Labrador. Um, so Newfoundland, which is the smaller portion of where it kind of splits in that section, is often referred to as the Rock, and Labrador as the big land. Um, But if there's a chance that you are heading out that way to Newfoundland and Labrador, there is a very strong chance that you're probably going to be in Newfoundland, which is why most or basically all of these suggestions that I'm going to give you are heavily for the Newfoundland side. And that's because when it comes to population and kind of structures there, Newfoundland is about 90 to 95% of it. So Labrador is there's not as many people there hanging around. So, if you find yourself in Newfoundland, you might find yourself in the capital, which is St. John's. It is the capital city. That is where you can find the famous Jelly Bean Row of houses, which is the bottom left hand of the screen photo there. You can find really great museums, food. One of the museums that was recommended is called the Rooms. And so the Rooms is a cultural history of the area, and some art displays as well. So if you're in the area, you're looking for museums, that's probably the place to go. Cape Spear. Cape Spear is about 30 minutes from St. John's, and it is the most easterly point in all of North America. So if that's of interest to you geographically, I highly recommend checking that out. And it is the oldest surviving lighthouse in the province as well, if you're out that way on that most easterly tip. Iceberg Alley. If you're there at the right time of year, and from what I see, it's from around April to June-ish, is where you can see the icebergs like literally floating by along the coast in Iceberg Alley. Those icebergs that you're seeing, about 90% of those are coming from glaciers in Western Greenland, and the remaining ones are coming from the Canadian Arctic, kind of drifting their way down. So if you're someone who really would like to see an iceberg, that's a really good place to go. If you want to see those icebergs while you are eating delicious food and having a nice beverage on a patio, the Quiddy Vidi Brewery seems to be a good place to go. It is about 15 minutes from St. John's. That is that bottom right picture on the screen there. You can't tell in the picture, but it's actually right on the harbor there. So if you're sitting outside or through a specific window area, you might be able to take that drink and have that food, fish and chips perhaps, and see the icebergs kind of floating in the distance. Maybe you'll even see a whale. And one thing I really wanted to include on here is the Come From Away production, specifically seeing it in Gander, which is definitely on my list of things I would love to do if when I'm in the area. Um, so basically, like I said, Come From Away is a musical. It's a theater production based on the events of 9/11. So when 9/11 happened in the US, over 38 commercial and passenger planes were rerouted to Gander, Newfoundland. For reference in terms of what this looked like is that at the time, Gander had only about 10,000 residents. And the planes that came in brought about 6,500. So their population close to doubled overnight with this happening, and they really had to scramble and figure out how where everyone was going to stay, and everything that was going on politically and the crisis and all of that. And so the production is really a great theatrical experience. It really has really like good conversations about things like racism as well. The songs that are produced is really strong. And so to see this kind of production exactly where it was actually the story is based in would be really neat. So if you're in that area, then I'd recommend checking it out. All right, so we are kind of going to leave the East Coast now. So we have seen Ontario, Quebec, Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, New Brunswick, and Newfoundland and Labrador, more so on the Newfoundland part or the Rock. Now we are going to kind of move into the prairies or move over into the central area of our country, which is Manitoba is next on our list, which borders Ontario to our west side. So, here are some things that you can check out if you are in Manitoba for whatever reason. You could check out the Canadian Museum for Human Rights. The mandate of this museum is to explore the subject of human rights with special but not exclusive reference to Canada in order to enhance the public's understanding of human rights, to promote respect for others, and to encourage reflection and dialogue. Um, so I have been told by my manager and from online that this is the place to go if you're in the area. You can also check out the Winnipeg Folk Mess Festival if you find yourself there when it's running in July. Apparently, it's really massive and really cool. So if you like folk music, that might be the place to go. If you find yourself in Winnipeg, you can check out the Forks National Historic Site, which is located at the junction of the Red and Nissevoyne rivers. So the Forks has, so that's kind of like the middle area picture there. What the Forks has, why it's kind of like a monumental area, is it has served as kind of like a meeting place for people to get together for literally thousands of years, for settlers in the area and for Indigenous communities. So if you want to learn kind of about the kind of cultural in backgrounds in the area and natural history, this is a fascinating location for that. And again, I know we've talked about polar bears a little bit already. We're going to talk about them again because we have right here in Canada the polar bear capital of the world, and it's in Manitoba, up in Churchill. There's a good chance that you're probably not going to wander all the way up that way, but if you find yourself up in Churchill, Manitoba, you might see a polar bear. This is also a great place to see beluga whales, which is the bottom right picture on the screen there. And a great place to see the Northern Lights. So who knows? Maybe you do find yourself up there if you want to see beluga whales, the Northern Lights, and polar bears. An interesting thing about Churchill, Manitoba, is that because it is the polar bear capital of the world, it is a very common social custom for people living there to leave their car and their house doors unlocked. Because if those who are in town, if they need emergency shelter because of a polar bear in the area, then they can get in somewhere safely. So, which is just kind of like an interesting social custom because, of course, in Waterloo or Toronto or major cities or basically most other areas, it's not going to be encouraged to leave your car door or house door unlocked. But it's a different story when you have polar bears running around town. And no, don't worry, down here in Southern Ontario, you're not going to run into a polar bear, and you're not going to run into grizzlies or Kodiaks down here either. But you might run into a black bear, which we'll talk about a little bit when we talk about camping. So, taking another step over to the west, we are going to go into Saskatchewan, which has a very long name. So, as you can see, the people who have designed this graphic had to put it vertically, but it's a center in between Alberta and Manitoba. So, if you find yourself in Saskatchewan, you can go check out Grasslands National Park, which is about 4 hours from Saskatoon. Saskatoon is actually not the capital, Saskatchewan, which is always tricky for those learning geography in elementary school. I know it was for me. The capital, Saskatchewan, is actually Regina. So, in terms of Grasslands National Park, again, it's about 4 hours from Saskatoon. Here is a great place to explore the prairies. You could find dinosaur fossils. So, if you're in Canada and you want to go find dinosaur-related things, Saskatchewan and Alberta is probably where you're going to want to do that exploration. This is also a place that you can go see free-roaming buffalo. So that's kind of a hard thing to find across this country, but Saskatchewan is the place to go. You may also find yourself looking at Cypress Hills Interprovincial Park, which is interesting because it is the Canada's first interprovincial park, and it's shared between Saskatchewan, Alberta, and Parks Canada. Here's a great place to see, beautiful night sky with stars. If you're into camping, this is a good spot potentially as well. And going back to what I was talking about dinosaurs, if you are interested in that, the Royal Saskatchewan Museum, you can visit Scotty. And who is Scotty, you might ask? Scotty is the world's largest and oldest found T-Rex. So there he is on display right there on the bottom right hand of the screen. So if you are in Saskatchewan, go see yourself that oldest, largest T-Rex found to date. All right, now taking an additional step over to the West Coast, we are going into Alberta next. So, Alberta, have quite a few things to say on this one. I myself have been to Alberta only once before, but it's definitely on my list to do multiple return trips for various reasons. So, the first thing I want to recommend to you is Banff. So, it is a national park, but there's also the town of Banff as well, which is about an hour and a half from Calgary if you are flying into Alberta. And if you are there, I highly also recommend checking out Lake Louise, which is the bottom right hand on the screen there. That photo was actually taken by myself on a canoe in the middle of the lake. Very, very beautiful spot. So, Banff National Park is, like I said, absolutely beautiful. The mountains, the water, the trees, absolutely breathtaking. These are kind of the areas that you see on like Bob Ross paintings. And it's the same with Jasper, which is a little bit down on the slide there, which is 4 hours from Edmonton. So if you want to see, another area of the province with similar kind of landscapes, that would be the place to go as well. So in terms of Banff, Banff is closer to Calgary, and so it depends on where you base your trip out of, if it is a city. So an interesting thing about Lake Louise, when I went to Lake Louise, I rented one of the canoes, as you can kind of see there in the bottom right picture and which you can do there. It's kind of, you can't see it in front of you on that picture, but behind me is actually this large resort structure. I think that it's called the Fairmont something. It's a fancy hotel that I definitely can't afford to stay in, but I can go and rent the canoe. So I was in the canoe with my dad and my sister. And in terms of canoe timelines, if you know what you're doing, like in the canoe and how to operate it, you can get from the other side of the lake and back where that mountain is in about an hour or so. So it definitely is doable. Um, when I was renting this canoe, okay, I get into the canoe, my dad's getting in, my sister's getting in, and there's a staff member who is helping us with life jackets and getting us in. And who is this staff member? A student I knew from the University of Waterloo. So that is a lesson for you that it is a small world out there sometimes, which is hard to believe with the massive amount of space and things that you are going to see on your travels. But always keep an eye out for familiar faces because you never know where they're going to pop up on your adventure. And that is not the only time that has happened. I've even seen a student pop up in Dawson City in Yukon, which is something that we're going to talk about in a few slides. And when you see how remote and far out it is, you're going to be like mind blown that I ran into a University of Waterloo student there. Actually, multiple. So you never know where they're going to pop up. If you find yourself in Calgary and if it's in this stretch of July that it's running, you can also see the Calgary Stampede. That's of interest to you. The Calgary Stampede is coined the greatest outdoor show on earth. And it takes place over the course of 10 days in July, and it hosts live music, classic rodeo shows and competitions, agriculture displays, and also a powwow by Indigenous drummers, singers, and dancers from all over Canada and the United States. So again, something on my list I haven't gotten to check out, but it comes highly recommended. If you are someone who loves to shop or you have children who loves kind of arcade kind of style of things, you could check out if you're in Edmonton, the West Edmonton Mall. So weirdly, with it being Alberta and pretty far north, the West Edmonton Mall is North America's largest shopping center. Though there's kind of some controversy of like it might be kind of tied right now with the Mall of America, but at one point it was the largest in North America and it may still be. So it's kind of like not sure at that point, but it is very, very large. It is still also the world's largest parking lot. So if you'd like to shop, this would be the place. But it isn't just shops. There are tons of activities inside this mall, including a water park, a theme park, a skating rink, golf, dinner theater. There's a hotel. There's escape rooms. There's a random, like, life-size pirate ship sitting in water in the middle of the mall. So, which is kind of like wild, right? When you think about it. But I imagine it's really cool to see. So if you're in the area, that might be a place to check out. We already talked about Jasper, so that is the third photo in at the bottom of the screen, just absolutely beautiful. And my hidden gem for this that I have been to is the Hanger Flight Museum. So if you're in Calgary, this is a cool hidden gem to check out. They have a bunch of planes throughout history to see and learn about. So if you are interested in aviation, uh, this would be a cool place. Also, on that note, if you are interested in aviation, we have a plane museum as well out near Hamilton Way, right here in Ontario, which is pretty close as well. So if you want that link, let me know and I can get that to you as well. All right, going now all the way to Canada's west coast, we have British Columbia or BC. If you find yourself in BC, these are the kind of things that I definitely recommend to you to check out. Some of these I've done, one of these I have not. Um, if you are in Vancouver, then I highly recommend checking out the drive to Whistler through the Ski to Sky Highway. So it takes about 3 hours from Vancouver. There are buses that run that route too, so if you're not driving, that's okay. It's my fave thing to do when I go to BC, is to take this highway from Vancouver to Whistler. There's tons of great views and stop points along the way. Whistler itself is a small, very touristy resort town, and it's known heavily for skiing and winter sports. So it was actually one of the locations for the 2010 Olympics were up there, and some of the Olympic kind of areas and the bobsled track, you can actually go and see that. But in terms of if you're not there in winter, there's still tons to do, and they still actually do have skiing and snowboarding really high up on the mountain summits. So all time of year. But it's a great place to go if you're going to do hiking, if you want to go biking. And like I said, you can still find that snow. So in that third photo that is actually myself in a University of Waterloo sweater, like 10 or 11 years ago. You take like three different ski lifts, like up, all the way up to the mountain summit. And you can go have yourself a little snow fight with your friends or family in the middle of July or August. If you're in Vancouver, I highly recommend checking out Stanley Park. So it's a great way to get great views for a beautiful walk. This is where you can get those kind of famous looking pictures with, this in very, very large big trees as well, such as the Western red cedars and the Douglas fir. Um, some of these trees are so massive that you could probably, if you looked at the base of some of these trees, you can fit an entire class like standing on them. Not like a massive like class lecture that some of us are teaching across campus, but like a medium size or full size even like elementary school class, they can all stand on that. That's how massive some of these trees are. If you're in Stanley Park, it also goes along the sea ocean wall there. So you might be able to see some whales or dolphins out there too. You can also check out the Capilano Suspension Bridge if you're in Vancouver. It's a cool spot to explore, especially at night or as the sun goes down, because they kind of have light ups and activities there too. I know with this and the few other things that I'm going to say that I'm really encouraging people to face their fear of heights. So if you have one of those, maybe you do some of these activities, maybe you don't. But either way, they're super nice. So if you go to see it, highly recommend. The next thing I have on my list is actually a restaurant in Vancouver. It is Vancouver's only Indigenous restaurant called Salmon and Bannock. You can try a variety of Indigenous foods here, including various game meats that you cannot typically get in other restaurants, so such as bison and elk. They are very popular and highly recommended. So if you're out that way, or if you're planning on going out that way, my thought to you would be to make a reservation. And then lastly, something that I got around to doing that I'd recommend again with if you don't have like the very high fear of heights is zip lining at Grouse Mountain. So you can actually zip literally from mountain peak to mountain peak. It's really, really cool. There's tons of great views if you don't mind about being 230 feet above the forest floor. But if you're there with someone else that wants to do zip lining and you don't want to do the zip lining, there's also other really cool things to do. Like, for example, there's a lumberjack show that you can go check out. So that's really neat. I would say if you're going to do the zip lining from Mount to Mount Peak at Grouse Mountain, to kind of if you're with anyone who is very small, like maybe a child, really check like the weight requirements. And I say that because I went with my family and my sister was not heavy enough to carry the zip across. So she actually got a magnificent view being stuck in between mountain peaks, hanging out there on her zip line thing. Completely safe, but someone had to go out there and get her and pull her into the other mountain peak. Really, she actually ended up getting the best view out of all of us because she got to sit there and take it all in. But yeah, it's really fun. All right, and now we are moving into the really far north into our territories, which is the Yukon Northwest Territories and Nunavut. These are distinct areas. We have the far left, which is the Yukon, the middle, which is our Northwest Territories, and the large light purple, which is Nunavut. I'm going to briefly talk about them all together compared to separately because I'm going to take a bet that if you are all looking to be doing some traveling this summer, there's a good chance most or all of you are probably not going to be heading to the territories. But if you are, good on you and let me know how it goes. So, if you find yourself in the territories, these are some things in different areas that you could check out, and I consider them to all be hidden gems because of how far north they are. So if you find yourself near Whitehorse, 30 minutes from there, you can go check out the Yukon Wildlife Reserve. So it's a great chance to see wildlife kind of home to the area. The next one you can go up to, again, if you're in Yukon, which is about 6 hours north of Whitehorse. So we're talking like close to the Alaskan border and then the Arctic area, is Dawson City. Dawson City is a very fun, interesting small town. You can see museums, go on rafting tours, hike, go see a show, or get a drink at what they call Diamond Tooth Gertie's. Or if you are really brave, you can join the Sourdough Cocktail Club, which you might be thinking, that seems really strange. What is that, Ashley? It is basically you can join a club and get a certificate for having to do this task in which you take a shot of alcohol with a literal human toe in it. I know. I thought all of you are thinking like, oh, what? Did she just say human toe? Yes, I did. There is a legitimate human toe. The toes are donated. There's a massive story that goes on with this in terms of like rum runners, and then they hit a blizzard, and then their toes fell off because of like the cold and all of that. Anyways, there's a whole like interesting story behind it. But if you're in Dawson City, this is something you could do to like say you did it if that's of interest to you. It's really nasty, but also interesting. So that's why I included it. But Dawson City is also where I ran into another UW student. So like again, small world, always keep an eye out for those familiar faces. If you find yourself in the Northwest Territories, you can go to Nahanni National Park Reserve. This is not accessible by road, so you have to fly or hike in. But if you're going out of Yellowknife, which is the capital of Northwest Territories, there may be kind of like tours that go, like group tours that go out there. So that is the far right photo down on the screen there. So if that's of interest to you and you're willing to find the route to get there, that would be really fantastic to see, I'm sure. If you find yourself in Yellowknife or really in many areas of this north, especially if you're there in about August to early fall, like September, October, you may want to check out a Northern Lights tour. So there's Northern Lights tours that are based out of Yellowknife. And of course, that could be like absolutely beautiful to see. Over the last few years, we've actually seen quite a few instances of the Northern Lights, even down here in Waterloo region, or even just a bit further north. So you don't necessarily have to go all that way to see it, but you kind of do if you want to see it kind of in its like full glory and you want a better chance at seeing it. And lastly, if you find yourself in Nunavut, you are probably going to be in Iqaluit, which is the Nunavut capital. There are great art museums, and it's great to learn about local indigenous culture as well if you're in the area. A note I want to make, if you are going to be in the territories in the summer, be prepared for your circadian rhythm to be shocked. So there are some points of the year, being so close to the North Pole, that the sun actually doesn't set at all. Like, okay, so the first bottom two left photos on the screen, I took those. That's up in Dawson City, around Canada Day, so about the first week of July. The sun literally didn't go down. I took those photos between 11 p.m. and 1 a.m. So yes, you can literally be getting a sunburn at like 1 or 2 in the morning in some of these areas, depending on when you're there. And on the flip side, there's some points of the year that you don't see the sun at all. So that's something to really keep in mind if, for whatever reason, you're going to be traveling to the territories. All right. So that was, I know, a quick and really like just quick overview of all the provinces and territories and little tiny snapshots of things that you could do along the way. There is something that I want to give you tips for because I know it can be kind of intimidating to try if you haven't before, and some of you may be wondering about it, and maybe you are already like really used to camping, maybe you love camping, and you have additional tips that you want to share in the chat. I'm going to give you a few tips for that if it's something you want to kind of test out with your family. So, camping. I've done a lot of it in my life. I am a Girl Guide leader, which means I bring like units of people camping on trips. In terms of where you can camp, there are hundreds of provincial parks across the country. Even in Ontario, we have quite a chunk of them. On the website, you can kind of see where they're kind of laid out. Some of them even have roofed accommodations. Some of them are more backcountry camping, which I'll talk about. And some of them are like drive your car in and you have a designated area to park in and camp in. We also have 48 national parks and reserves, and many of those allow camping as well. So, if you're looking to kind of start your camping adventure in Ontario, the Ontario Provincial Parks their booking opens at exactly like by the second at 7 a.m., exactly 5 months out from your planned arrival date. So, if you're looking for July 5th, you'll be booking February 5th, I believe. Yes. And some of the parks are not super competitive. Some of them are very competitive to get a camping spot, such as Kilburn Provincial Park, which is one of my favorites up near Parry Sound. And so some of these you literally have to be like on the booking site, like with your finger ready to click at 7 a.m. And even then, it's not a guarantee. But if you're open to like where you're going and what parks you're going, it's not as competitive like that everywhere. There's definitely sites you can go to, especially if it's not a long weekend. The long weekends are where it really gets tricky with the kind of like holidays. there are kind of sessions and actually resources online, and the parks host them too, called Camping 101. So you can go learn about like kind of campsite etiquette, like materials and equipment that you might need to get started, putting up a tent, making a fire, all those kind of important elements when you think about camping. My recommendation to you would be if you're looking to test out camping, go test what we call car camping or first. And that is like the sites where you can drive up to your car and you have kind of a designated flat space to set your tent up or your little trailer. This will give you that good taste. Usually the provincial parks, there's like activities and guided like hikes running. So there's kind of those extra pieces and beaches. So it's great anyways. Like that's most of the camping that I do. Um, if you're interested in like the really like hardcore camping, that I mean like take your canoe out like 5 legs over and go and no one's around and you want to find an area and pop up a tent, like what we call backcountry camping. My recommendation is to not start with that unless you're with like a group that is very experienced and can kind of pull you around for the adventure. But be prepared. Like there's no washrooms in the middle of nature, right? So all those kind of things you need to be aware of. And it can become dangerous fast when you're out in the back country, especially because there's not very quick emergency access. You might not even have cell reception. Um, so again, if you're going into the backcountry, like away from these designated camping sites, make sure that you're legally allowed to be there. Depending on where you are, you might be trespassing. And make sure that you know what you're doing. You have the appropriate equipment that's needed for the temperatures and terrain and climate, and you're with people that are also experienced. And just be safe, have backup plans in place, and let people know where you're going too. Very important. If you're looking for camp gear, you're thinking like, Ashley, there's so many things I need to get, like tents and tarps and cooking supplies. Where do I get this? You can rent camping equipment, you can borrow it from friends. I would recommend checking out secondhand places like even Facebook Marketplace. Sometimes you'll find people who are just looking to completely sell off their entire camping setup. So that might be something you can cash in on. If you're going camping, never, ever, ever leave food or garbage outside or in your tent. And if you're looking to doing boating or fishing in the area, make sure that you know the license and area regulations tied to those activities. Because you can't just go and do kind of like what you want. We do have specific licensing for those things. And always make sure you're respectful to wildlife, other campers, and park rules, especially when it comes to like noise levels. In some places, when you're camping, you can't even like play a radio or any music. So just make sure you know, like, if you're going to a certain area, what those kind of regulations are. And always be prepared. That's super important when you're going out into nature to, sleep for a few nights. All right, so we are getting closer to the end. Now I want to share with you some additional tips and resources for traveling across Canada. My travel tips for you. Number one, book things in advance to avoid disappointment. Similar to what I said about the campsites across Canada, those popular, more touristy areas, they will book up, especially in the summer months, in places like Tobermory, for example. Make sure you have insurance. Check into those, medical insurance, even trip cancellation if that's something you need or want. Making sure that you have appropriate car liability insurance if you're going to be driving. If you're going into natural sites, especially, make sure you're doing extra research in advance to know what to expect, what wildlife to encounter, what the weather conditions are going to be, what the temperature is going to be, what the terrain's going to be, if you're going to see the sun or you're not, like we were talking about with the territories. With it being such a large, massive country, our wildlife also drastically varies. So, for example, in southern Ontario, you don't really have to worry as much about seeing, well, at all actually, about seeing polar bears or grizzly bears. That's not a concern in southern Ontario. They're not here. If you're going up and camping in northern BC, or if you're up in Churchill, Manitoba, those different kinds of bears are going to have different safety protocols compared to our wildlife, our black bears, our squirrels, our porcupines down here. So really know where you're going, especially if you're going to be staying outside. Cell coverage can be spotty in some areas. So plan to have offline maps and navigation as backup, especially if you're going into more rural areas. And on a note to more rural and remote areas, if you are going to be going into the far north, make sure 911, well, not make sure, see if 911 services this area for emergencies. 911 is the emergency phone call for most of Canada, not all. There are actually some areas, and you will literally see a sign sometimes as you're passing it that says, you are now leaving the 911 calling zone, which is really off-putting to see the first time you see it. That doesn't mean that there's not numbers you can call in case of emergency, but they might be different. They might be more localized. So make sure that if you're going somewhere really remote, that you have an idea of what that looks like. You can also save some money from traveling in a shoulder season, depending on the activity and area. We're talking about like, right now and like later fall, like November. But really, for a lot of areas, that May to September window is going to be, or really like, yeah, May to August, like that kind of vibe is going to be higher cost. When you're in areas, I also want you to check out to see if you have, if there are charges in certain areas, like touristy charges, like if you're in Niagara Falls, there might be additional charges that you might not notice right away that could pop up on your bills. So some places will charge a tourist tax or a municipal accommodation tax. So if you really want to know a full picture of your costs going into an area, do some looking to see if that applies. And of course, you may be in some of these areas only one time in your life. So make sure you take those pictures, take your videos to cherish. And lastly, a few resources. There are tons of resources online, but some resources I want to share are things like the Government of Canada tourism web pages, Ontario tourism pages. We have regional vacation planners for across Canada. If you are a graduate student, check into your travel benefits through the Grad Student Association. If you are a postdoc, depending on what benefits you have with your contract, check in travel medical coverage as well. But in either case, just make sure you have insurance for not just traveling Canada, but anywhere that you're going to be traveling in your time alive, really. Um, but yes, so that is all I have. I know it was a jammed, content-filled session, but I'm going to send out the slides for it as well if you're interested in any of the links. Now I'm going to go to questions, so feel free to pop your questions into the Q&A function or the chat function. And I'm also really curious to see if any of the places I talked about today pique your interest. If not wanting to go to these places, but maybe even just of interest. So please, I encourage you, put something in the chat of a place that I talked about that you would like to see or found interesting. And again, I will keep an eye out for those Q&A questions as well. I'll jump into there. Oh, yes, I see our awesome co-op student Rachel has looked into answering some of these questions already. Thank you, Rachel. So yes, the CAA is the Canadian Automobile Association. They provide roadside assistance and insurance and things like that if you have a membership. If you do a lot of driving, I'd recommend it. But anyway, something to look into. And the polar bear habitat, yes, it is a long drive from here. It's about 8 hours from Waterloo. Probably even a bit longer. But it is possible to get to. And there might be even more routes when the Northlander train system gets up and running too. Right. Any other questions today? All right, while you're thinking about your last questions, I'm going to put our email in the chat, gradexperience@uwarlu.ca if you want to reach out to us. Again, I haven't been across the whole country. I haven't been to some of our provinces and territories. They're all on my list to go to one day. But if there's something a resource I can get to you, or a tip or information that I gave to you today, I could try my best or find it for you, or I might have some personal experience with it. So always feel free to reach out to gradexperience@uwaterloo.ca. And thank you so much for coming to today's session.